Hello. Hello, beautiful women. Hi, Jill. Hi, Adria. And Marie, Leanne, Rachel, Jennifer, Natalie, Kia, Robin. Seeing you all popping on now faster than I can say. Michelle, Julie, happy to see you here. I'm going to take down this stream window light. Happy to get to be with you and support you today. This is your Accelerator call, and this is your opportunity to get to ask any questions that may be arising. Some of you, if you might be joining this call for the first time, I'll just let you know about a couple things. So if you're just coming into this call for the first time, this is for all levels, Entrepreneurial Leadership Academy, Leverage, Lotus, all questions, nothing too big, nothing too small, are welcome here. And this happens once a month. So we really spend the whole time, 90 minutes on a Q&A deep dive. And I know for some of you, you will just be arriving here perhaps for the first time after our event, well, all of you in terms of current clients, and those of you who are joined for your official start at the beginning of October, you just had your welcome ceremony call this morning. So welcome if you are also arriving here with us. And we're going to keep the questions today to your business strategy. So you're welcome to be here. This is a bonus for anyone who's joined for your official start in October. And any program questions you can totally send to support@sagelevine.com. But this is your spot for your strategy questions and your opportunity to get some guidance on your next steps for your business. So welcome, and those of you again who are just jumping on to, who are our current clients who might be completing at the end of this month. So for our fall registrants from 2019, if you're completing, you will have gotten an email for a more completion call and looking at your next steps as well with Sage that's happening on Friday. So check your inbox for that. And you can always reach out to your coach as well if you didn't see that, and just say, hey, I'm interested in that and joining that call with Sage on Friday. So that's for those who are completing, and those who are just joining us, you had your welcome today. So this is a gathering spot for all levels to get your questions answered. And I recommend just putting your hand up as soon as you know that you have a question, because I'll get to as many as possible in the next hour and a half and just go through the list and invite you to ask your question with the simplest format that we use on all the calls, which is my question is, and then just dive right in. So if I need any more backstory, any more information, I'll ask you for it. And we just like to keep it to one main question and then get that answered for you. And you're always welcome to put your hand back up again as well if you have more. All right, beauties, I will just dive right in and start with Rachel Cooley. Hi, Rachel.
Yay.
Yes.
Hey, Megan. Hi, sisters. So my name is Rachel, and my question is, I have my next 6-month angel certification program starting up on October 8th. It's coming up in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering suggestions that you have to boost enrollment a couple weeks out from the launch of my program.
Mm-hmm. So boosting enrollment a couple weeks out from the launch. So the main thing is getting out in front of people a little bit more. And so I imagine you've already been doing this a lot, but for you to, be going live in your Facebook group, on your business page, really letting people know. So you already have some people registered?
I have some women registered. One's registered fully committed, and a couple of the others, it was a bonus in my 6-week program that I'm completing this week that they get to try the first month.
Okay.
So there's about 4 of those that are in the trying it out and deciding mode.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So that'll be important as well for you to really scoop them up and give them some extra care. You might want to even have a bonus call with them, with those women, and really talking about their next steps and how that relates to where they've already been with you on this journey.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then for new folks, the reason I was asking who's there already is because you can also use that to be talking about on a Facebook Live, not in terms of their name, but in talking about like the kind of women who are joining and what they're looking to get out of it, and the kind of community that's starting to grow, and if they're feeling the call to be part of that as well.
Awesome.
And so getting some of those things in the works. And I would also say if there's anyone that you could connect with, and I know there are because there's lots right here, that you can connect with to see about being in a Facebook group, getting to share a talk in there, what other sisters have something going on where they may not be in the midst of a launch right now, but they would love to have a guest speaker, you and then also if they have a podcast or anything like that. And that's for all of you to always be looking out for when you're on a launch. I was just talking to a couple women this morning who were saying how much they still think that they need to do it on their own and they need to have that success on their own. And I know this is a big mindset shift and this up level to lean into each other, and to even lean into each other when you think your niches are too similar. And so this is an important piece as well. If you ever feel like, oh, this person's doing the exact same, I know that's not the case for you, Rachel. I don't think anyone's doing angel certification work, but if someone's doing, more of a spiritual piece, and they're like a priestess certification, and you might feel like, well, some people might be drawn to that. What's really true is they're going to be drawn to your energy, your presentation style, the way that you're being in conjunction with what you're offering. So, niche mates is one of the best things. When I hosted a summit on business, for instance, I invited Sage Levine to be a guest on the summit. Why would I do that? If I had been in limiting thinking and thinking like, oh my God, now everyone's going to go over here, no one's going to want to just work with me directly, then I would have been missing out on an amazing opportunity to collaborate. And that was one of the things that started off our collaboration as well, where I ended up ultimately teaching here. So just that openness, and it went both ways. There were opportunities that Sage brought to me as well because I was reaching out. So just dropping that in here as we think about collaboration. Niche mates are amazing people to collaborate with. Don't get into comparison mindset and thinking there's not enough, because that other person is a whole different human. And we have to remember that only 2% of our list actually wants to buy from us. The rest are interested in your topic. And so when you're really coming from that place of service, we can start to open up more to see how can we serve how can we serve from that place? So I just wanted to bring that in because I've been talking with a few people about collaboration today, and I would really recommend, Rachel, you lean into collaboration with both niche mate kind of people and people that do very different things, like a health niche, and it could be someone that supports in business realm as well, but they're working with very sensitive people. Look at Michelle Fragus is putting thumbs up here. So yeah, reach out. If you're watching, if you're listening right now, go ahead and send Rachel Cooley a private message on Facebook too, and say like, hey, yeah, I'm interested. My people would like angel certification work, and I don't have a whole lot going on right now. Because what happens then is, Michelle, just to give this example, if you two collaborated, then people start to see like, oh, Michelle's the kind of coach and the kind of business supporter who believes in angel certification, who believes in this other realm. That's my kind of business coach.
Yeah.
So that interview works for you as well. It's totally for you. And it's a different thing too, that like you're not providing that. And so people might hire you who do similar kind of spiritual work because they're like, oh, wow, she's bringing on this guest expert and I do something really woo. And I thought maybe I didn't belong here, but clearly I do. Just starting to think in those terms. So I know I went on a tangent there about collaboration, but just thinking about ways that you can start to lean into that support and collaboration. Because Rachel, you are one of our most supportive sisters. I have seen you in this community for years now. You are commenting on everything, you're liking everything, you're showing up at every event. You are so fully all in and engaged. And so for women who may just be arriving here and just meeting this community, Rachel is someone to know. And I really want you to have that same kind of support back. So ask, reach out, and get collaborating.
I will. Thank you so much, Megan. So good. Mwah.
Mwah. Kisses to Rachel.
Thank you, Michelle.
Sparkle fingers. Yes, sparkle fingers.
Thank you.
So beautiful. And this is one of the most beautiful things about, I've had matcha today. I need to slow down. I'm very excited. I don't usually have any caffeine. You can tell when I'm like, yes, 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 yes. So I'll just claim that and breathing. So I would say this is one of the most exciting things about this community, that we're global and you can get to be connecting people all over the world. And then all of you are reaching clients all over the world in different pockets and different places. So this is why the collaboration works so well. All right. Sparkle fingers for collaboration. Who feels like they're ready to lean in to some more collaboration, even when it might feel scary? All right, I see you. So good. All right, Misha, speaking of collaboration, you're doing an amazing job of that. What do you have for questions?
Okay, my name is Misha, and my question has to do with cancellations and follow-up. So I think I need to give you more information for you to help.
Okay, yeah.
So I have a client who I ended up giving a discount to. I know, we won't talk about that. But anyways, I gave a discount.
Discounts aren't shameful.
No, they're not.
Okay.
They were working with me for a 6-week program. They wanted to go into the full year program, so I gave a discount. They're a teacher. I gave somebody else a discount because they were retired. And that felt good. And we were supposed to have our third session yesterday. I got an email saying, I've decided to work with a therapist. Thank you very much. Canceling my meetings. Didn't ask for a refund. My contract says no refund. I just said, thank you. So hope that you find what you need in your therapy, and in love and solidarity with Misha, whatever. I haven't heard back. I'm feeling some ethical pull though. I'm feeling uncomfortable with the cancellation and having the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know what my question is specifically, except that what would you do? Would you send a follow-up? Would you offer to hold services for that person? Would you bring up the topic at all? We've had multi-conversations about it. So she canceled. I don't know.
Yeah. So when it's clear, the ideal situation is it's clear and you have a contract with people, just like we have contracts, and people know like what they're saying yes to and the terms, the length of time, all of that is really clear. And so it sounds like you've been clear and she knew what she was signing up for and she paid in advance. Yes. So you're not talking about taking future payments. This is just,
she paid in full.
She's paid, and now she's changed her mind. And so you could definitely, probably what I would have done is in that first reply is said, I totally hear you, that you're feeling like a need for some other support. And, oftentimes people will work with a therapist and a coach at the same time. You have already paid for this package, X amount of sessions. So you're welcome to continue using them. And these sessions will be, saved for you, or you can use them, or you can access them for X amount of time. So if it was a 6-month program, it could be up until that end of that program, like 6 months, like you're welcome to book within this time.
I like that a lot.
That's how I would handle it. So I wouldn't be mentioning anything about a refund because that's not what the contract says.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, people have their own freedom to choose. And sometimes people will just make a different choice or sign up for a different program partway through yours and then decide to not show up or drop out. And you can't control that, but you do want to keep an integrity with the agreements that are made.
Yeah. And she did say in her email that she can't do both at the same time, but she didn't ask for a refund. And we've talked about it more than once because she wasn't going to go into the program. And then I offered a discount that wasn't the same low price she could get therapy for through her insurance, but it wasn't the same high price of what regular paying clients would be. So I compromised. So I feel like there was a lot of clear, but I think that that could be a good follow-up maybe in a couple weeks to say, I'm checking in on you. Hope you're doing well. I had a thought that maybe, you know, you said you couldn't do this at the same time, but I just want you to know those sessions are still there for you when you're ready.
Yeah, you can definitely follow up that way. That's really generous and smooth.
Okay, thank you. Awesome.
Yeah, great, Misha. Let's give you sparkle fingers for handling those tricky client conversations.
Thank you.
Yes. And Michelle, what's your question? Michelle Fragus.
Good morning, everyone. So I am looking at running 2 program offerings, right, in synchronicity, where one will actually essentially be then my evergreen that constantly brings in the leads. The challenge that I'm having at the moment is my messaging in the social world. Am I confusing people because the type of messaging is funneling through different ways? So that's my, you know, how do I, because one of the programs is one that I love people to come in straight away, right? My messaging would be very on point there, but I want to start seeding the other messaging because when they go through this program, they'll likely end up in the other program as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And so is your question just that you feel like the marketing is messy because you're trying to market to 2 different things? Or
Yes. Yeah.
Well, ideally you'd be marketing more in a funnel so that there's steps, like they would come in to, you'd be guiding people, for instance, in Launch Your Movement. Like that would be a step. If someone joined Launch Your Movement with us, you wouldn't have to, like many of you never did. You weren't, that was new this year anyway, but Launch Your Movement would be like a first step where it's a 5-week course. And then we do marketing separately for Entrepreneurial Leadership Academy and for Leverage as a next step, but we don't market them both at the same time. So is it possible for you to market them kind of tiered like that?
Yeah, I probably need to shift because if I think of it's women in corporate and business who have, you know, reached a point they're not fulfilled anymore, but they're overwhelmed, they're stuck, they're lost. So they'll have to come through the first part of getting that clarity, that purpose, and then unraveling that. Then the second part would be my business program to take them through that. So would you suggest that I just funnel through that first one really, really on point and then?
Yes. Yeah, like offering one at a time. And so for any of you that feel like you've got kind of 2 different micro niches, this would be for you as well, because that's what you're speaking to, I feel like. Yeah. So then you're really going towards one thing at a time. Like I have a course that happens once a year that's only for couples. So I'm really focused on that side. And then I have another one that's just for individuals. And so I'm focused marketing all at a different point of the year. So it definitely, it works well that way to have it separated out, because then people aren't confused about like who belongs, who to serve in the, who gets served in your program.
Yeah. And just to tap onto that and then I'll finish is, so I really want to kind of restart again, like to really kind of get all the steps, master the steps in complete for this micro niche. How would you suggest like to literally start the whole program again, step by step, to master every aspect of it?
So how would you start? Let's see what you're saying. So how would you start again to master? I'm not quite sure what you mean.
So if I was new and I knew my niche and I knew exactly who my clients were, I wanted to,
Okay. So if you were brand new and you were looking for, so then you would be focusing on, once you know what your niche is, it's what your messaging is, and then you'd be focusing on creating your program offering, and then reverse engineering from a program to a free gift to like a free training, masterclass, webinar, reverse engineered from that program, but in terms of that order that we take people through.
And how would I find that in the library? Like, where would I go with that reverse engineering and going backwards?
Yeah, so you would look, well, spiral marketing
Yeah.
is the thing to look for. So spiral marketing talks about that reverse engineering of kind of thinking of what's the, and actually the other place to look would be your success tracker. So that's the brand new form that we have. Have you seen your success tracker yet?
I've come across that, and I just by accident. So would that be a good template?
Yeah, that's good.
That's pretty cool. That would have been good.
It's good to mention. Okay, I'll mention that a little more here because there may be others. Are there others that are not quite sure, you haven't dove into your success tracker? Okay, great. So the success tracker is something that we sent out to you. We don't just send you random things. They're really useful, like for your business. I know there's a lot of it though. It's hard to tell what to focus on. So the success tracker is something we're inviting you to use for filling in before your coaching sessions. And, you know, the first time you fill it in, it's going to be a little bit more involved, but it's exactly this kind of process of looking at, okay, so what is your, what's your niche? And then what is your breakthrough called? What is your masterclass going to be called, or a Facebook challenge? And do you have landing pages already built? Put the links here. And we have a spot for spiral marketing. And there's a spot you can actually click and see the handout for it right in your success tracker, where we talk about going backwards, reverse engineering from your kind of end goal for people, where you would want them to be in a program, a longer program, to maybe a shorter program, to a free training or gift, so that you're inviting them to solve one problem. That's the first problem. And then what's the next biggest problem to solve? And then the next biggest problem to solve. And that's what's making the spiral.
Yeah.
So those are some things that are on the success tracker, but the purpose of it is so that you get to see this bird's eye view of your business, because it can often feel like, well, which parts do I have, or which parts am I missing? And we really put time and energy into this, building this for you so that you would have it all in one place. And then you can just simply put the link into your coaching form the next time you sign up with your coach. And then you can look at it together. And also it's a living document. So you can go and edit it at any time. And then when you book another session, your coach can look at the session too, or look at the page too, so that they're really in the know, and you can look at where might the gaps be. But it's a really great overview. So I would start with that.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Michelle and Sparkle Fingers, for helping us find the success tracker. I saw lots of people going to search mode there. Beautiful. And Vireo, you are up next. I'd love to hear, Vireo, if you have any celebration to share, because I know you've been in enrollment.
Yes, I have several celebrations. One that I won, so I'll be looking to, I won the one of the last games, which was super exciting. So I get some extra coaching. So, and the funny thing is, I didn't actually total my points till the day they were due, like hours before. I was like, I've been going live so much, I wonder how many points I have. And so I was just going live constantly. So yeah, and I have eight women in my program for Sacred Pleasure Liberation program that started last week. And I'm opening to attract 4 to 8 more. And thanks to my coaching session with Shayna yesterday, I just had a sacred yoni temple. Yoni is Sanskrit for our female genitals. And there was two women who came to that, but they were not at that time interested in my program. So she's like, well, you should follow up. They might have changed their mind. And so I have another follow-up breakthrough session with both of them tomorrow. And one who said she was definitely not interested in my year-long program. Mm-hmm. I just quickly sent her a message this morning, said, wondering if you might be interested. I have a couple spots, and she actually just messaged back yes. So I have a follow-up breakthrough session tomorrow.
Yes!
So I was not interested, but now after a weekend with me, she's like, I want more. So I may have 2 more right away tomorrow morning. So yeah, so I'm feeling super excited. So my question is, for a title for a master class, do I need 2 parts? Right now I have 3 secrets to feel sexy and feminine, or more feminine and sexier. 3 secrets to feel sexy and feminine.
Yeah, 3 secrets to feel sexy and feminine. That can totally work as a masterclass. The one problem is if you're marketing on Facebook, sexy might not be allowed.
Yeah.
Because sex isn't allowed. So I think that could bring up some problem if you're trying to boost it. It won't be a problem if you're just posting, but boosting it will be a problem.
Well, I'm wanting to boost because I've never tried that yet, and I'm like, I want to boost.
You could
and
say
see how
sensual,
that goes.
3 secrets to feel sensual and feminine. And
Okay.
they don't, that's totally fine for boosting.
So then does that mean on Eventbrite, I need to change the name as well and have 3 secrets to feel feminine and sensual? Or can I guess I'd have to, right? Because it's going to link into that.
The Eventbrite will link to your Facebook. Ideally, that's what you'd want to do, is have Eventbrite and the Facebook event linked up together so that people could find it both places and that those 2 are linked. So I would recommend shifting it so that there's congruence on the titles in the 2 places.
Okay. So short and sweet like that is fine. I don't need to have a title and subtitle or whatever.
No, that's great. And then you would have some bullet points for what are those main takeaways, the main results or benefits that they're going to get from the masterclass. And you put those in the Facebook event and in Eventbrite as well.
I just posted them just as we were starting this call. I've got probably too many questions, but I have 4 questions that my board of directors helped me to come up with just before this call as well. And then I have the bullets. So if anybody wants to give me feedback on those, they're on our leverage page. So
great. So on the leverage page, you just posted them. And let me see here, because I can look at it with you right now if it'll open at the same time as this. Sometimes it's a little slow. Okay. So let's see, I'm just looking for you. Vireo. All right, so I see you wrote 3 secrets to feel feminine and sexy, or sensual, perhaps. Do you feel disconnected from your sexual body? Do you wish that you had, so you could just say from your body here, again, for just Facebook ads passability. Do you feel disconnected from your body? Do you wish that you had a different body? Are you yearning to be seen as beautiful and sexy? Again, just sensual. Do you sometimes wonder what it even means to be feminine in this masculine world? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then this masterclass is for you. Learn how to see and feel the beauty in your own feminine body, release body shame and shame around your sexuality, and feel more comfortable, confident, and sexy in and out of the bedroom. This is great. And I would say it's really about just shifting some of those words for Facebook approvability. And so if you're using sensual, or if you're talking about body, just like I said with that first one, do you feel disconnected from your body, rather than saying sexual? Those will be the ways around it, and still going to be clear for your people to be able to find you. Yes. Perfect. Thank you for your questions, Vireo. And yeah, if other people have feedback, you can see Vireo's post just right before this call.
thank you so much.
Sending you big love and celebration. Sparkle fingers for your amazing new clients coming your way, 8 fabulous clients, and for you leaning in and reaching out to someone who'd already said, no, I'm not interested in the year-long program. And for you really standing for her, reaching out to her again anyway. You never know what can change for people. So if someone's crossing your mind, my experience has been, if that person is going across my mind, if I'm like thinking of them and wondering about how they are, just reach out, just see what's going on over there. Like a lot can change.
And I just want to add that she really said, I'm absolutely not interested in your year-long program.
Mm-hmm.
I am interested in your weekend, which just happened. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's great, just to get to check back in lightly, and it's no pressure, but you're just seeing, like, you know, after someone has experienced you for a weekend, for a Facebook challenge, for something, lots can change. Beautiful. Thank you, Vireo. Sherry Busick, what is your question?
Hi, Megan. I just want to say I love me some matcha too. So.
Mm-hmm. My rare caffeine.
My name. My name is Shari, and my question is in regards to like a rotating program. So currently, I have it's like a mix between one-on-one clients and a group. I had some feedback from my potential clients, and they said they wanted to have a group support feel for it's a group of mamas. So I had one enrollment on my first challenge, and obviously I cannot have a group with just one person. So I filled that with some beta clients. So I have a monthly call for a group, but then all the other services are one-on-one. So my question is, because the program builds upon itself, I would like to add in people, eventually moms, clients along the way, but it's a progressive program. So I can't really, what do you recommend do I have to like design my program differently so that it kind of, no matter where they jump in, it fits, or what are your recommendations?
Yeah. So if you're trying to do rolling enrollment, which is what it sounds like, you're trying to just have, you know, entry points at any time. Is that what your goal would be? So it's,
I don't know if there's any other option. So if that's
well,
the
there's a
only
couple
other option for that.
Yeah. So there's a few things. So you could do rolling enrollment, which is anytime someone could join into a program, or you could have a couple entry points a year, like we have for leverage or leadership. Is there's 2 entry points out of the year. So that would be a starting place to just see, well, could you navigate that, or would you want to have 2 different entry points? That can be a little easier, especially when you don't have a lot of team or support in that way, to kind of get people feeling like they're not behind and they're really seen and supported and individual supported. When you have rolling enrollment, usually you would design it in a way that the content is being dripped out. And that means that they're getting video recordings of trainings instead of live trainings. So then you would have those videos that go out, they join in, and let's say Shari. So let's say Shari joins in September, and Vireo joins in October. Vireo still gets the same content that Shari got in September. But Shari got September, now she's on to the October module. So you would have modules instead of months, and they just get like one module a month dripped out, or one a week, or depending on how long the program is. But you're just dripping that content out. So a program like Kajabi, for instance, it's one of the reasons we recommend that one, drips out the content for you. So you could have it entered into there, and your whole program is living in there. Your videos are in there. You don't have to have the entire year of videos all done before you're enrolling clients. You just have to have that first module set in there, and then you enroll some people, and then you get the second one recorded. And then, you know, it gets easier and easier as it's just automated and dripping out. Then your live calls would become more Q&A, laser coaching, hot seat time. So similar to this, where we have, you're all at different stages of programs and different programs, and we're just here for, or I'm just here for, like, what do you need right now, and how can I support you? So it's a little different. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because right now I'm trying to formulate where the first call is focusing on the first month and the second call is focusing on the second month. But if it was more of an open thing, then the calls are relevant to whoever and wherever they are. So that makes a lot of sense. So even just making that switch makes a lot of sense for what I'm trying to do.
Great.
Yeah, I have a second mini question. So my program ends in December, and I'm wondering on how I could best start filling, because I'm just going to repeat the same program again, and hopefully filling that in that way. So I'm going to do a challenge that will be overlapping with the program to fill the second program. is there a way that I can do like a master class to lead into the program, or would it be best to just do the challenge again and then lead into the enrollments?
Yeah, well, I would recommend doing both.
What would one be for the other, or what is the?
Yeah, so usually it would be a challenge, and then the masterclass might be the following week. That's how we usually do it, is a challenge the prior week and then a masterclass right afterwards. Like if the challenge ends on Friday, then a masterclass is on Monday or Tuesday, so that there's this little gap and promoting the masterclass. And a different topic. So it's like a little, still in the same, obviously same overarching like niche topic, but in the sense of you're just giving like one specific thing. And the masterclass is often designed more to look at some objections that people might have, like they were with you for the challenge. And so now you're looking at like breaking through some of that resistance. And so you might do a class on, for you, maybe like supporting moms getting out of overwhelm and into action. And then you're able to talk about how actually being in a program is the opposite of being committed to more or overwhelmed or feeling like they've got too much going on, because this is going to give them, they'll be able to prioritize, and they'll be able to get to feel like time with themselves. And so you're able to talk about more of the things that happen in the program and make that offer again for breakthrough sessions.
Perfect. So it would be, for my clarity, it would be like a challenge, an invite to the masterclass, and the masterclass would be an invitation to breakout sessions, which would lead to enrollment for the program.
Yes, and you would invite, still in your challenge, you would invite to breakout sessions as well. And you'd be promoting the masterclass as like towards the end of the challenge, saying like this masterclass is happening and you're invited. This is why you want to be there. It's like the next step and to come. And so it's just giving more value to people, and they're getting to know you more and your teaching style. And then you could also say, this is a great opportunity to invite your friends, anyone else that, like, if you've resonated with this, go ahead, send this link on to them. So now you have another way to immediately get more people engaging, and you're able to promote that right on the heels of your your challenge, when people have been paying attention to you and your business page and all of that a little bit more. And then you have something else for them, because they might not have been available on the days or the times for the challenge. And now here's another opportunity.
Gotcha. And then paid masterclass, free complimentary. How do I?
So we're usually recommending that for challenges and masterclasses, you're doing them for free at the beginning, like as you're starting to gear up to more and more clients saying yes, because you want to take out any barrier. However, we have found that when we offer paid ones, then the conversion rate is a lot better, and people are more serious about showing up when they sign up, because when they pay attention, and that's the case for a challenge or a masterclass as well. But in the beginning, if people don't know you yet, then it's harder to get them to pay. So while people know Sage because they might have read her book or listened to her on Summit interviews and podcasts and watch her YouTube channel and like all the bazillion things, then it's easier to charge and say, and this is the next step, and it's a low pay, come to this event. For many of you, you may not have the exposure wide enough yet. So that's going to just be personal choice to see, but I'm just giving you the behind the scenes on like where we would recommend. So for someone that already has a pretty strong platform built, and you're trying to actually sift through people and get more highly committed people to join in, you'll have less people watching, so less eyes on, but they're more committed.
Perfect. That makes complete sense. Just one last thing. Can you direct me, because it sounds like for my challenge, I'd be offering discovery calls plus seeing like the masterclass. Would that be like a dual offering? And if so, how would where's the material that I can look at?
No, it's not so much on there. It's just like if you've watched any of Sage's challenge, she'll just mention. So it's not a full offer.
Gotcha.
She would just be mentioning and saying like, oh, come to the masterclass. Like, we're having this, make sure you get this in your calendar. We'd just be dropping it in at some point. it's not an offer. It's not the full offer, but they would get email reminders saying the masterclass is happening at this time. So reminded that way more so. And then just dropping in, if someone asks a question, she might say, answer it a little bit, and then say, actually, this is a big part of what we're going to be doing in the masterclass. You'll definitely want to come, and then using it as a launching off point to talk about it.
Beautiful. So seeding it essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Seeding it.
Thank you very much, Megan.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for your great questions. And as always, this is helpful to everyone. I saw lots of you writing notes, and as you're tuning in to, for each of you, like, oh yeah, what's my structure? What do I need to offer? So always for inviting you all to keep listening from that place. All right, Leanne, your hand is up. Leanne Christine.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Leanne, thank you. And my question is, I would like to continue to build membership on my Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you consider the top 5 ways easily to do that? And my niche is coaches, women coaches and healers.
Okay. So women coaches and healers, and top strategies to build your Facebook group.
Yeah.
This would really be for any of you, but so for any of you wanting to build a Facebook group, great question. And for you, Leanne, I would say the first thing is, of course, your free gift. And so having a free gift that is some kind of a checklist, easy downloadable piece that then has a next thank you page or a thank you email with it, that is inviting someone to watch a follow-up training video on the same topic in the Facebook group. So then you could run ads or boosted posts on Facebook or Instagram to guide people to your Facebook group through your free gift. Offering a challenge in your Facebook group is another way to build the group, because people join the groups when there's something happening. They want to join when they know, oh, now's a training, and they're not just usually joining just because it's there and they run across it. So you want to give them a reason so having either some kind of a masterclass, live training, or a Facebook challenge full out, either of those options that are happening in the group, and then you're marketing those on Facebook. And if you have multiple social media platforms, the other thing is definitely cross-connecting those. So Instagram, putting it in your link tree, for instance, so that people can go directly clicking from your Instagram bio profile and link tree to jump over to your Facebook group. If you're a guest being interviewed anywhere on a podcast, or if you're interviewed in someone else's Facebook group, one of the easiest next step offers to give is inviting people to join you over in your group and talking about the free training video that's right at the top of the page that they can access and on a certain topic, and getting them excited about that. So yeah, those are some of the major ways for Facebook group building. And the other thing would be going back to the collaboration piece I was talking about at the beginning of the call, to see who could you cross promote with to interview each other in your Facebook groups, so that you're getting exposed to new audiences, getting practiced also just being interviewed and talking about your groups and your offerings. And definitely Leverage and Leadership are 2 great places, and Lotus, great places to be able to be doing that.
Thank you. Sorry, I had to mute you. There's electrician banging on my face.
No worries. Thank you. Yeah.
I was unexpected. So I'm loving all these ideas, and especially with the guest, being a guest interviewer or collaboration, it all funnels back to having that gift or free training that I
think you were frozen, because I'm seeing other folks moving. So just, Leanne, we may have to come back to you. Yeah, we'll come back. We'll circle back around, love. All right. Great question, though. How many of you are still wanting to really focus on building your Facebook groups in the coming months? I just want to scroll through the screen and see what's happening. Okay. Yes, lots of you. All right. Beauties. I love seeing so many of your faces that were at the event that I got to see on the screens there too. And by the way, those of you who have questions about the live event, virtual event, and any kind of behind the scenes things, happy to get to share about that too. All right, Stephanie, I saw your physical hand popping up there.
Hi. Yeah, good to meet you. And thanks for all your help.
So welcome.
I'm just starting out. Like, I started a Facebook page. I have no paying clients. I'm not even sure what my niche is. So,
Okay.
what is
So you just join us for leadership?
Yes.
After the event? Yes. Okay, welcome, Stephanie. Yeah, there's a couple. Well, one thing I just want to say for you and for anyone else, because I see quite a few new faces, is we are going to have a bonus niche clarity session that's happening in October. Let me see. I just got the notice today. I'm leading it with Sage, and it is going to be October the 13th from 2 to 4 Pacific. And so that's a bonus niche clarity. So for any of you who feel like you're still in the soup, that's your spot. And I just want to make sure you get that on your calendar. And what other questions can I help you with?
Well, I just, I actually am working with a coach, and she said, just do it. Just do your launch, and I was actually trying to do something that was more pertinent to right now, anxious to calm, and doing like a challenge and doing tools, that you can bring yourself from anxious to calm. That, and I was going to offer that for free, but then I don't know where to go from there. And do I need to have a contract before I even think about this? And, I have so many questions.
So I would say the thing about creating your launch, like just when she's saying, just do it, get out there, like that's great. Yes, get in action. And to have a successful launch, there also needs to be a building of really lead generation so that you've got people paying attention. So that's why we always recommend starting to grow your online community, especially through Facebook groups is one of our favorite ways. Or, if you're on Instagram, growing on Instagram, but you're starting to grow that following of people paying attention first, and you're giving them amazing value. And then going from here to inviting them into a breakthrough session. And then for you, it would be one-on-one clients. So what we always recommend when you're just starting out and getting your first 10, 12 clients is that you're working one-on-one with people, because then you get to really hear what are their specific needs and how can you support them to the best of your ability. And then if you start working with a bunch of people who have the same kind of challenges, you're hearing the same thing in your one-on-one sessions, you'll be able to develop a really strong group program out of that for a bigger launch the next time around. So I would recommend for you, Stephanie, is to be getting clear first on your niche. And one of the bonuses that you get is Sage's Niche Clarity course. And so even before the Niche Clarity Day, diving into that, I'm not a fan of launching just for the sake of launching to try to bring in some general clients, make money quick, because you have to build something and you're building that trust of your potential clients. And it happens over time. And so while you can totally be getting clients in the next month, and that's part of what we're going to be looking at on the VIP day as well, it's client attraction, is on the 29th, the client attraction piece is stemming from you being clear about what kind of clients you want to draw in. So with that idea of the anxiety to calm, that could be just your starting place. If that feels okay, so I want to work with people and helping move them from feeling anxious, feeling overwhelmed, feeling stressed to calm. And you're offering one-on-one coaching support in that realm as you start to build a bigger message. But does that feel like it's still part of your niche? There's a connection with that message?
Yeah, it sounds like my niche will probably change once I kind of get like you said, the more clarity. And I mean, I have done practicums and those have all been great and all that, but this is different because no, it's business, and how do I grow that, and how do I get people and followers, and you know, I'm doing little posts like, oh, today's Wednesday, it's hump day, you know, what are you feeling or whatever. But is that how you start out? And
it's one step. Yeah, it's one step at a time. And this is the thing for all of you, you know, as we were saying on the, you know, welcome ceremony call this morning, is this is really about taking it one step at a time. And so you don't want to feel like you have to do everything at once. So there's a lot of different marketing strategies that we'll be giving you. And it starts with being clear on who you serve and what your message is, and then building from there through your social media presence. And yes, making posts where you're engaging with your community, you're giving them value, you're showing up and going live, all of that, all of the above.
that can change too. Your niche can change, right?
Absolutely, your niche can change, yes. And recognizing that when you change your niche, you start from the ground up again.
Okay.
So I've done this. And so I know when you build a whole group of followers that are in one zone, and now let's say like you want to work with women who are in corporate, I'm just randomly throwing out women in corporate and supporting them to clear their stress and find like working through adrenal fatigue or something like that. And then you decide like, oh no, you really want to work with moms. And it's like, well, there's going to be some crossover maybe in there, but it's a very different message. So you're essentially starting again. So that's why we encourage you to really work with the clarity piece in the first month or so as you're setting your foundation. Doesn't mean it's carved in stone, doesn't mean it can't change, but just knowing that you'll be starting again if you decide to change it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thank you, Stephanie, and welcome. Sending you big love. Yes. All right, Robin, what's your question? Robin Smith.
Hi, nice to be here.
Wow. I'd love to hear if you have a celebration too, because I know you've been in launch land.
Thank you. I'm actually in it again.
All right. Yes.
My celebration from last time is I had a good turnout for the challenge, and 4 women have signed up for my group. So.
And just to share with others, I know you were doing a 2-part strategy. So you had one Facebook challenge one month, and then you were doing another Facebook challenge the next month. So super smart what Robin's doing, not to rely on one challenge, all the clients coming in at once, but you're offering 2 challenges.
Yeah, it's a good thing, or I would have a very small group. So, yes, so my challenge starts Monday. So here I am again in challenge land.
Yes.
My question is, I'm wondering how much to say on the opt-in page this time, given the topic. I've got lots of benefits of the challenge, and I'm not calling it a challenge, I'm just calling it a training.
Sure.
And it's sort of like what Stephanie was talking about. It's about, helping women from moving from anxiety to calm, not with those words exactly, but, and the other thing I'm doing in the challenge that's not mentioned at all is teaching about the nervous system. And just trying to fluff up what I'm offering, or else it would be like 5 minutes of what I'm giving. So I'm not offering a ton of content, but I don't say anything about that, kind of the teachings on the nervous system. So I just didn't know if I need to. I don't think I did last time either, and I had a good turnout, but last year when I did it.
Yeah. So you don't need to. You're not giving them all the details. Essentially on an opt-in page, you want to give them kind of as minimal information as much as possible, just so that they feel like, yeah, that's me. That's something I'm curious about. And then are you doing this as a paid one, or is it free?
No, it's free.
Yeah. So especially when it's free, that's even easier for people to say, yes, I'm in. And then you can follow up with the emails that also give them a little bit more of like, here's what they can look forward to. And
right.
Points.
So what I'm finding is that I'm not getting great enrollment right now, even though I've sent out a couple emails to a large list, and Instagram and whatnot. And I'm guessing it might be because I've narrowed the niche down, way down on the opt-in page. That could be a good thing. And I have a call with you this week. We could look at that specifically, but
Okay, good.
yeah, I'm curious about, I mean, no one can actually tell me the answer to that, but it might be good to look at that.
I'm curious of what's happening for enrollment for this one, because you're saying this enrollment is lower than the last one.
Seems like it so far.
Well, what also happens is, leading up, like the closer you get, so it still starts next Monday.
Yeah.
So that's almost a week away. And most people will enroll for a challenge or something like that in the 48 to 72 hours prior.
Okay.
So
For that.
I know it's not what we want. We want them to register like 6 weeks in advance. So, yeah. So you staying consistent in your ability to show up in marketing and letting people know, but and even while it's happening, people are registering too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I will keep sending emails. Can I ask one more, I think a pretty small, different question?
Go for it.
When I have a private package, I forget what we call that, but for private clients, and now I'm doing this down payment in addition to the monthly payment. And if they finish and want to keep going, would I charge that down payment again? Do you guys, is that what you recommend? Or
we do charge a down payment. We do charge a down payment because if someone's still on payments, it's to pay for the admin costs and the follow-up and all of those things. Like that's what it's related to. And so although for a renewal, there's usually a smaller down payment. That's one way to give them like, just giving them a little bit of a smaller down payment, since they honored their agreement last time around, they can have that as sort of a reward. That's a good way to roll a client forward, give them a smaller down payment. You could, of course, like it's your call as well. I mean, that's what we do, and it's really to cover those other costs. And you could also just say, give them a quick decision bonus of, hey, if you want to join right now, I'll just waive that deposit. We'll roll you forward with your same payments. And, what do you think? And, and if they say like, I'm going to need to think about this for a few days, you're like, great, you can totally do that. And it'll just be this much deposit then, and then on and on.
What if the people that are rolling forward haven't had a down payment before? Because they were in it before I started that.
Then just roll them forward with what they've got. I would say as long as they're honoring their agreements, they're kind of grandmothered forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Robin. Yes, sending you challenge blessings going in for the second round. You can do it. Angela Walker, see your beautiful face. What's your question?
Hi. I would like to get some more clarification on the program that you spoke to Sherry about, the rolling program that was module oriented. My clients are caregivers for aging loved ones, and they're in all different places in their care, and I've heard from several that they would be interested in a particular topic or module, but not all the rest. So I'm trying to figure out how to serve this clientele.
So they're saying they're interested in one module or a few modules, but they're not interested in the whole program.
Exactly.
Well, what I would tell them is, I do offer private coaching. So if you're not interested in the whole program and going through that, you can purchase a private coaching package. It would be this much. And then, it is more on your own schedule. You would just be choosing a time from my schedule to meet with me for sessions. And it's a really customized version of the program. I would use these teachings as a baseline, but we'd only be covering the parts that are really pertinent to your situation. And that's if you agree, if you feel like that's true, because the other side of it would be saying, it's designed this way because I recognize it's important to go through these steps. And it might feel like some of them aren't interesting or aren't necessary to you. And it could be just because you don't know about those elements yet. But if it's someone that feels like they already know that part, or, you know, there's other reasons, I know every case is different, then then I would go the private coaching path.
Okay, so in terms of the private coaching, is it a certain number of sessions, or is it a certain number of months, or how do you go about just doing the private coaching sessions?
Yeah, so it would usually be a package of sessions that they're purchasing, and you can give them a limit for what that looks like. If you're going to have this private coaching over the course of 6 months, 3 months, how long is your program that they were looking at?
Well, that's just it. I don't have a program right now. I was still trying to solidify it by interviewing a lot of people.
Got it.
And that's pretty much what I've been getting, is that, you know, they might not need information on how to become eligible for Medicaid assistance, but they would need to have more information on something else.
You know, one of the things that I've done in the past too that's worked well is, if there's a whole bunch of modules that are pre-recorded, and I understand they're not yet for you, but they're going to be, then you can also say, when you private coach with me, you get access to these modules. And then your private coaching rate is higher than the program, because you're giving your personal time, and they're getting exactly what they need. And you're saying you're also going to get, as this bonus, this entire course, this entire library of materials, so you can pick and choose any of them that you want to dive into more. And I'll also be guiding you towards watching ones, or looking at handouts that are really pertinent to what comes up for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And pricing wise and packages, it's so variable. So that comes back to, I would like get into coaching session with your coach and get to like map out your plan for pricing tiers of your program, and one-on-one sessions, and how many sessions to offer, all those pieces. That would be a great next step.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Great question. Welcome. Sending sparkle fingers, lots of love. And Charisse, what's your question? Welcome, Charisse.
Hello.
Hello.
So my question is, I haven't actually got a Facebook group. I'm about to launch one. So actually, before I was on the 3-day event, I'd kind of created this little image that I was putting out just on my personal page, which was, I was thinking of calling the group She Lights Up the World. So it's a place for collaboration, co-creation, and just like healers or anybody impact-based, or yeah, but I just wondered if that's too long a title, because I was speaking to someone else and they said it might be a good program title. So I'm not sure.
So the title of She Lights Up the World.
Yeah.
It's not that it's, yeah, so it's a great title. The challenge is there, how do we know more about who belongs in the group? And so there's so many reasons why she might light up the world. And do you have, like, what would you say are your ideal clients to have in the group?
So spiritual entrepreneurs, or people stepping onto the spiritual path and are curious about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So then this is where we talk about like 10-year-old language or 12-year-old language of how can it be so clear? You could have She Lights Up the World, a group for spiritual entrepreneurs, for instance, as like right in the banner, so that they know this is who it's for, this is who belongs here. Or you could have spiritual entrepreneurs as the group title with She Lights Up the World underneath it.
Yeah,
but
cool.
It's that basic, like to just get that clear so that people see it and then they're like, oh, that's me. That's what you want them to do. And I love the She Lights Up the World piece, but it needs to be paired with the who.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Cherise. Glad you jumped in. You're joining us. I'm excited for what you're up to. Yes, you are a radiant light for sure. And let's see, Tina Hong, glad to see you here. You're in the middle of your challenge.
Yes. Yeah, so I have a bunch of questions that are related.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done challenges that are paid in the
Yes.
past for probably like 5 years, and they specifically have been implemented through Facebook. Before even this whole new group page with units and, you know, learning
Mm-hmm.
modules in Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not used to this whole free thing. Like I had 40 plus people interested and registered, and I'm having 10 people come on with me,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. I mean, I think maybe that's like a good ratio, like 20-30% to actually show up.
Totally normal.
That's
Mm-hmm.
probably normal. I get it. Then I feel like I'm really giving them like all my nuggets of coaching, like excellence, like really valuable stuff that I give to my one-on-ones,
Mm-hmm.
like real nuggets. Now, it's difficult for them to implement because I'm just doing these 30-minute to 40-minute challenge, like training. But basically, it's really good stuff. And I feel like, well, first I felt like I was giving too much.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some engagement and they're kind of warming up, but I feel like engagement's a little bit low. And I have daily prizes and actions and things like that going on. But I don't know. So that's one thing in terms of context.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering going forward, like how long does it take for people who don't know me to get on this like really intimate video conversation with me, where I'm sharing my stories and being intimate? How long does it really take for them to trust me? You know, like I know that's a difficult, but I'd like to know, like, generally.
There are stats on it. So what used to be more of like 5 to 7 touch points is now more like 12 to 15. So it doesn't mean that someone always needs that, but that's something that's normal now. Like they may jump on a challenge and get to see these, you know, the videos every day with you, and then they're in your Facebook group, and then they start watching some other things in there, and they start engaging with some of the posts, and then they watch an interview with you, and they're building up. You know, I regularly have talked to people who join our year-long programs who followed Sage for 3 or 4 years before they register. And then I talked to people who just found her yesterday and jumped in. So it doesn't mean that it's always that way, but just not to get disheartened if you're feeling like, oh, okay, like I got 10 people, why aren't they all just saying yes? Like this is my golden offering.
Goes back to my first like context. You know, like if it was just even a $20 or a $1 or, you know, some low payment threshold for them to at least commit, like at least then it's a signal to me to say that, okay, this person's pretty serious about it. They're not just like totally just, you know, entertaining the idea.
Yeah, well, that's why I was saying earlier that if you do a challenge or a Facebook, whether it's a Facebook challenge or you're doing a masterclass and you charge something for it, you get less people opting in when they have to pay.
Right.
However, so I would say for your next challenge, you could test it out. That's the main thing, like testing out what are your results. It really makes a difference to build your audience first, so you've got more people paying attention, and that you can do some Facebook advertising or boosted posts as well, and that helps. Either way, whether it's free or whether it's a low pay, but as an entry point to get people in there. And I would say also we want to look at with you your structure of the days, just as you're talking about giving all of your best stuff and all that, because we recommend definitely giving like a teaching point. There's a main teaching of each day, but it's also reverse engineered to show them like, what are they not knowing? What are they not aware of, so that they can take another step and move
Right.
forward.
And I'm seeding that in the conversations, like, these are general best practices. Basically, you'd have to take it to another level. Like, it's going to be personalized for you, all of that. But there are some secret sauces that I'm giving away here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can definitely talk about that in a session and see, like, okay, how can you pull back a little bit on that? Because this is something I've heard from many of you, that you feel like you give away too much and then people walk away and think they need to implement everything and not hire you yet. So we just want to not run that risk, where you're giving the whole structure away.
So I'm sorry to zigzag a little bit. Back to the question of how long did it take, how many impressions or whatever interactions does it take for them to get to know and trust you? What exactly is the measure? Do you know the science? Like, what's the measure of them actually saying, I trust this person, I'm going to buy?
Yeah, so there's a lot of psychology that goes into that. And part of it is the consistency. They want to see you showing up over time and not just for one challenge. They want to see you regularly on your social media. They want to see posts coming out every other day, and articles and podcast interviews. And like, they want to see like you are an authority in this zone. And so as you're building that platform, people have more and more trust. And they also, it's an important piece to have Q&A time, so that they can directly interact with you and ask questions and be seen and heard and all of that. That's another really important piece for sure.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Megan.
Yeah. Thanks, Tina. You're doing it. And this, when you're leading a first challenge, like in this way and getting it out there, I know there's a lot of moving parts, and then it's never going to be that first one again. And so the next ones from here are going to be easier and easier. And we're totally here to help you build it out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Sending you love. And Adria. Firestone.
I am Adria Firestone, and I've got a question on how do I handle the orphan Facebook business page? Because I'm doing a lot of stuff in my group, and then I'm realizing I'm not doing as much stuff in that biz page. And how do I handle it? Can I post some of the same things? Do I go down a different route?
You can definitely post some of the same things. And I would also look at, if you're going to do a training, for instance, do you go live regularly in your group?
Yes, definitely.
So anytime you're going to go live in your group, you'd want to post about, like, earlier that day or the day before, that you're going to do this training, free training or free talk that's happening in your Facebook group. And that would be one easy way to just make a post there. And, I'm also a fan of building both Instagram and Facebook at the same time, because you can link your Instagram profile to your Facebook business page, so that the post, it'll just say, like, check that off, that yes, upload. So then you're on two platforms in two places, and that's felt a lot more worth it to me.
Oh, I like that. I like that idea a lot, because I haven't explored Instagram at all. I'm an Instagram virgin, so.
Yeah, we're going to be bringing in more training about Instagram for sure, but that's just one thought to have. And in the meantime, now I would just practice posting at least 3 times a week in your business page. So you're not going completely quiet there. And one of them will be about the training that you led in your group, so that you're trying to get more people to notice that and get over there. But the main reason for your Facebook business page is so that you can boost posts and have paid ads.
Right. And is it ever a good idea to lead not a challenge, let's say a masterclass or some small live from the business page instead, and transmit it out to several other pages? Because I know you can't transmit from your groups.
I would just say, so you would, you can go live from your Facebook business page and then transmit it to, like, share it to your personal
To the
page,
group,
for
to my
instance.
personal page.
Yeah.
Um,
All the different places. And so it definitely works to do that occasionally, but most of the time you're focusing on the live trainings, the longer trainings in the group. But you might go live and talk about, wow, I just did this training in my group, and here is a couple of the big takeaways, you know, that people had. And if you haven't joined us over there yet, I really recommend it. The training's still available. I'll put the link in the comments.
Great, great,
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Growing the pages. This is what you're up to right now. Lots of you. This is the common theme. All right, let's see. Kia Nesmith, what's your question?
Hello. I am actually thinking ahead to a potential, it's kind of like a membership type program, although I'm not sure it's going to be a classic membership program, but a place for sort of all the other groupings of people to land once they're done with what they're doing. So for my potentially for my year-long clients who aren't appropriate necessarily for another year, but something for ongoing support for them. And then the groups that I do when I work with businesses and organizations, those employees, a place for them to kind of come and get continued support. And so, you know, I've been thinking about things like once a month Q&A calls, and most everything else is fairly automated. So it's not a ton of time on my part, and it can be a pretty low cost option. But my question really is around, what are the critical things that I need to be thinking about before I start this new layer in the business, and what should get set up ahead of time? You know, my MO is always the build a plane as you fly it sort of MO. And so I'm often like, oh, maybe I should do this, right? Oh, I should do this, right? And so what to have set up ahead of time before I invite people into this, so that I'm, you know, I have a good place for them to go, and as opposed to a crazy place for them to go.
Yeah. Do you have Kajabi?
I don't, but that is something that I would work into in order to start this.
Yeah, that's my thought, is that having a place like that you can drip out the content to them, and it's like a library of content. So it doesn't mean you have to have a full library, but that you have something set up where you just enter their email and it already has welcome emails ready to go, and it sends them the next stage of content. You know, whether it's Kajabi or some other platform like that, like Thinkific, or something that you can load in your modules. And, you know, the other option would be a Facebook group, of course. So having a Facebook group where you can invite them into and say that's the first step, that they're getting access to this group where they can ask questions. If you want to host questions there, or unless you're going to host the questions and more community support just on another platform.
Okay. And Kajabi doesn't do that kind of interactive support within their setup, right? Like that's good for like a classroom kind of thing in terms of dripping out information, but there's not a sort of Q&A platform on that.
Not that I'm aware of, not unless they've added something since the last time I was looking in there.
Megan,
and is this something where you would...
I'm sorry, I just wanted to say, I think they do have a way of supporting that. I just joined and set up my stuff on Kajabi, so I'm pretty new. But there is a community feature. It's a kind of product they offer, and the community feature is exactly that. It's really just a discussion board. It's like not as robust as Facebook communities, but it would give you the discussion. Just bear in mind that it's a product, so when you think about which plan you're on and how many products it supports, that discussion board community is one of those products.
Okay, awesome.
Love it. Thank you, Suzette. That's great. Yes, I know in the past I had been able to plug in Facebook commenting underneath video trainings in Kajabi, but it's still, then you're still on Facebook, so it's not
totally. And is this the kind of thing too where, you know, I'm toying with the module sort of setup where it's like every month there's a set sort of, order of which they get things versus they're coming in, and wherever they come in, they come into that topic, whatever topic that is that month.
Yeah, so for a membership, it would be a little more like that. Like like they're getting that month's content.
Awesome. Okay, perfect.
That's what I think would be easiest for you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. That was my question too.
Great.
Awesome. Thanks, Megan.
Beautiful. Thanks, Kia. All right, Sonia. What's your question?
Well, my question is, I have two questions, but I'll start with my first one. I'm curious, like when you're first starting out about contracts. Right now I have just one-on-one sessions where I do intuitive reading. But I don't, like I've been seeing like the agreement we signed to join leadership, and there was another kind of mastermind group I joined, and there was a contract for that. But I just, the appointments are scheduled and we go right on into it. I do have kind of like a consultation sometimes, but there's nothing being signed. They book their appointment, they pay for the session, and that's it. So when is it a good time to get a contract? And how do you do that?
Yeah, so right at the beginning is the good time to get the contract before they get access to anything.
Okay. And access is like the session with me?
But yeah, so the session with you, or if there was a group session, or in your getting the contract signed, ideally before they start any part of the program. So that's the main thing.
And where do I get the wording for that, or a legit?
So then it would be drawn up by a lawyer. That's why we don't share. I mean, you obviously see your contract, so there's an example. But to make it, you could have it drawn up by a lawyer to make it legal. You could also, yes, you see this example. You can search for examples. Just Google contract, coaching contract examples or things like that online as a possibility. And you can, and then there's different ways of using it. You could use like EcoSign, like we do, Adobe Sign. So there's different systems that there's a monthly fee to be able to use their contract formats. And I know that you could search free contracts as well online. There's a few different platforms that offer, up to 3 or 5 contracts to be sent out a month. So you could see what those different options are. And for some of you, including you, Sonia, if this feels like, oh, that's too many moving parts, too complicated for just right now, you could just have a simple thing when they make their payments. So you could have a note built into their payments saying like, this is a monthly payment, your payments start on this date and they complete here. This is not a membership program. This is your agreement because you're not choosing to pay in full. Your payments will be extended over this period of time by checking this box. You're agreeing to, you could build in a form like that. So you could have a simple web form that you build into your website, and then you're just getting them to check a box essentially and building that as part of your payment structure if they're paying on your website.
So for me right now, just kind of having the one-on-one sessions, and it is like a therapy session, but I'm not a therapist. I need to state that?
I would state that. Yes, I would let them know like this is not replacing therapy or medical advice. This is, coaching session.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll see that in our contracts as well. So there's an example of that.
It actually had me thinking about it when I was looking at it last night. I'm like, oh, I see the importance in this. So thank you. Can I ask my second question?
If it's a brief one, because we've got.
If it doesn't seem brief, we don't need to go into it. But I don't have a lot of views on my Facebook, and so is that I just have to boost posts? Because really, all my views are like my really close friends and my mom.
And this is on your personal page or your business page?
It's on my personal page. My business page. I can't remember the lady that was saying it, but the same thing. I think it was Annette. Or sorry. Anyways, I have it. I just don't tend to it. I'm not nurturing it.
Yes. So I would say, so on your personal page, people aren't really going to see it unless they're your friend. are ready. Like that's the difference in the business page. When you boost posts, it can get out there to different people, wider audiences. And your personal page, while you might have your settings turned off, which I would recommend everyone turn off those settings that block your page from being seen by the public. You want your personal page to be able to be seen. If you're using it at all for your marketing, you want people to be able to go and land on there and find out more. If you're only using it for personal, then you can still keep your settings as just private to friends and family. But it's going to be something like your business page will show to more people as you boost those posts, as you post things that people are more interested, like going live, for instance. Like more people will see live videos than they will a recorded video. Facebook has preference of that. If you're putting links to anything outside of Facebook, link to your website, link to a YouTube video, links anywhere else, Facebook will bury those posts.
They won't.
No,
They
don't.
Okay, so
won't.
don't do links.
Don't do
is what
that.
You're saying.
Don't do
okay,
links.
but live is the ticket.
Yes.
Sounds
yes.
like it.
And no links, or they just push it down.
Ah, okay. All right.
Yes. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you here joining us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Love.
Thank you.
Yes. Erin Guthrie, what's your question?
Hi. Sorry.
Hello.
How are you? So I'm in the middle of my challenge, and I already had a lot of the questions I had answered thanks to all the other ladies who have asked. But I wanted to just be sure, like, I'm not going to do the paid offer. I'm just going to do the call to book the one-on-one sessions with me, the breakthrough sessions. And I haven't offered those yet, right? So I'm doing it 5 days. So I'm waiting, or should I start tomorrow to offer those, or should I wait until like Thursday, Friday?
Yeah, so you're doing 5 days. So tomorrow's day 3, Wednesday?
Yes.
Yeah. So I would recommend you can go ahead and start offering the sessions on Wednesday. So on a 5-day, we usually start on the day 3. So day 3, 4, and 5. Day 3 is a little bit of a lighter offer. So you're starting to like give them this early opportunity to go ahead and book. You've opened up a few slots, and then tomorrow you can go into it as a bigger offer. Or Thursday, the next day you can go into it as a bigger offer, and Friday again with the same kind of focus as you did on Thursday.
And then I was just listening about having the masterclass next week, and that feels good to me. But so how do I do that as well? Because I don't want to confuse them, or I feel like having them have too many options. Like, how do I also see the masterclass to them too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're seeding the masterclass as filling in some gap that you didn't get to get into in the training. And then the breakthrough session is something that's more of like your one-on-one plan, your one-on-one strategy. We're going to get you a mini plan, things that I can't do in group trainings.
Okay, got it.
We want to get on with you one-on-one.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Excited to hear more about your challenge. Keep posting your questions on the page and leaning in for support. We're here with you. Jennifer Vichinsky. Had your hand up for a long time.
Hi.
Hello.
So I just started my business page, and I just did a welcome video. And in part of I never did the program with somebody yet, so I'm gonna do a Facebook challenge soon to try and get beta clients. But part of my program is to make a piece of jewelry that symbolizes your brand and symbolizes your vision. And so my niche is women coaches, and they're making a program of their own, and it's kind of like a piece of jewelry that they can use as a brand symbol and also as kind of virtual or visual business card. So I was wondering where in my marketing should I talk about it? Should it be up front? Should it just be part of the grow? Or I don't know.
Yeah, so I would recommend, so I think it's a really special piece. of your program. I think it's part that really stands out. And so you getting to share about this as part of the meaning behind it, like when women get to go through your program, like they're getting this piece of custom made jewelry that's really holding their intentions and their growth from the program. And I think it gives you a great excuse to talk about it. And then once you've had people have that, do you have anyone who's had some experience like private coaching with you and getting jewelry or any? Yeah.
I worked with Sarah Atkins. I made her a pair of jewelry for her weight loss program. And we're actually going to do an interview on my page, I guess. On my page?
Yes.
Yeah, on my page.
Yeah.
But she hasn't done, we started doing the other parts of the program, but we did the earrings first.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's why there is the example. This is why I'm telling you talk about the jewelry, because how many of you can relate to like, oh, that's interesting. I get to have some custom adornment that's standing for who I'm becoming and get to, yeah, the hands are going up. So that's why you don't want to leave that out. Jennifer, I think it's a really special part of what you do. And so definitely talk about it up front, show pictures of it, you know, as you start to have clients with testimonials of that. And, you know, Sarah is a great starting place, but getting to bring their testimonials in as well, because we love jewelry. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then my other parts of my program are going to be visual also. Like I'm going to have you do like visual and more creative exercises. Should that be part of the marketing too? That it's more creative and artistic?
Yeah, so I would say, yes, so you want to bring in, like basically have a page drafted out with either a PDF or a landing page that goes through the different modules and the steps that you offer in your program. And this is for all of you. When you're going to make offers to people, you want to be able to show them, like, here are the steps that you're going to move through. And so you're not leaving anything out, because while someone might be more drawn to the creative element and that, and then someone else is more drawn to the jewelry and adornment, and someone else is drawn to like the deep transformational work, like everybody's getting fueled by that.
Okay. Yeah, because I know you guys are like, you know, hold back on the how you're doing it kind of thing. So I wasn't sure like where to put how are you doing it. So it's okay to kind of just talk about how you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Jennifer. Love it. Sending you love for your program development. You're in the creation process yourself. And we are at time. We're a couple minutes over. I know I see there's a few more questions here. And I do have clients at the 1:45. So I'm going to just see if there's any other quick questions that you want to get answered here. Leave your hand up. No more hands. But if you want to get your questions answered here, it's quick. Go ahead and leave your hand up. I'll get a couple more of you. Anyone that I don't get to, just go ahead and ask your question in your Facebook group. Coaches will be checking on there and getting to them. And let's see, Juliet Humphrey, what's your question?
Hello, I'm
Hi,
back.
Juliet.
Hi. Hi. Oops. Hello. Sorry. Typical. So it's just quickly. I'm having a little phrase that I'm doing my beta program, and I'm while I generally know my modules, it feels very cloudy about how to intuit the sessions. Like, do I just copy Sage's model, you know, just copy first, like do a session and then a Q&A and more training, and how long are those sessions? And is it just because it's beta, you just give it a go and then you realize with feedback, okay, you need a bit more, you need a bit less. I feel a bit like there's so much possibility. How long am I, and what would be giving away more of my time? But I want to be generous. So my module is, my modality is the Enneagram, which is pretty in depth. And I want to give a lot of time because I don't want to skimp on it. So I part of me naturally want to be more generous, and I probably would naturally want to give weekly sessions, but often I hear, 2 sessions in person once a month, and I feel that feels very stingy. I feel they need a week with stuff, because I will have triggered a lot of stuff coming through, and I really want to keep them nurtured. So maybe that's my intuition, but it's like, but then I guess is that to do with the charge? So the amount that you give of yourself reflects in the price. But if you're just starting out, the courage to start high feels too high. Do you know what I mean? Or is that?
Yeah, it's got to feel like it's in alignment for you. That's the main thing. Like, it's got to feel like, yes, this is in alignment where you don't feel like you're over giving, but you also want to get some testimonials and get some like proof of transformation and all of that in the beginning. So often for many of you in the beginning, you'll offer the first round of something, the first, some one-on-one packages for much lower than you might offer in the future. And that doesn't mean anything about where you're headed. It's just getting some of those solid testimonials in there and the practice in there. And so you can also let them know it's never going to be this low again. That's another piece.
Yeah, and just that it's there's a lot of, so while you're figuring out, well, I'm going to do an hour and a half this, and maybe seem extra generous, it's because you're working out what I need to do more of, or what I need to do less of. And so it's okay to be a little bit, maybe quite a bit imperfect, and they might get a lot of you, but they might get a wow factor transformation or a wow factor testimonial, because you've given a lot, but then you know your benchmark or it gives you confidence for what you can charge. Does that make sense? It's a bit of working it out and realizing you need more, or it's, I guess, stumbling along.
Because you're going to feel it. So generally what I hear, and I'm sure many of you have had this experience, is like, you offer something, and I'll talk to clients and they'll say like, I'm good with offering this I don't feel comfortable charging more than X amount of dollars, $500 for a month. And then after they do that for a year or 6 months, and often it's only partway through the program, then they say, oh, this is actually way more work than I thought, and it's lower. And then they're very comfortable charging more. And so you've got to get to that point. And usually it's through the first round of like, oh, no, I'm totally worth more than that. And you want to think about your audience too, for who's hiring you, and what are they used to investing in, and all of those elements, and the place in the world you are, and all of that. Because I know.
And I suppose in the beginning, it's that guesswork of, I'm going to try maybe for the first 2 modules this much, and you realize, oh, it's not enough. They need more. So maybe like Sage, as I've seen, she's realized we need more. We have implementation days now, and realizing, okay, this is what we need. This is what we need. And you realize what the need is, even as you're working along, and you just make it up a bit to see where. Okay.
So you'll get to realize what the need is, and it changes and morphs over the months and years.
I think I have that perfection thing, and if it's not amazing and in my head and clear, I just paralyze.
Of course. You, and I see lots of other nods here. You're gonna be building the plane as you fly it. So
okay, got it.
Juliet, yes, yes, love. Okay. All right, Lisa T, what's your question, beauty?
Hi, Megan.
Hi.
Hello to all the sisters who just joined. My question is, I just want to hear from you, Megan, just a few behind the scenes from the retreat that you learned and you want to do differently next time. If you just have time for one, I'm just curious.
So, and I'm sure we'll definitely get into these more in the next training calls and all of those pieces, but I would say, not necessarily differently. It was more that what we learned from doing it this way is it was the most similar to doing it as a live event. So we had a tech team and support in that way. We had a coach's corner, just like we would have at a live event, where we had a team of amazing coaches that are both people who are in our programs, graduates, people who are the actual coaches as well, getting to meet with clients for laser coaching sessions, and as we're also training and having elements like Kenlyn teaching yoga in the morning. And so it was more of a retreat-like feel at the same time as delivering the content. So we really structured it fully as a online event, or I mean, not online, a live event online. Like we really use the same kind of structures, the same strategies more than ever. And Sage is going to be bringing in even more of those teachings for all of you who want to do that. And you don't need to hire a tech team. You don't need to be in a studio or doing it in that way. But having support, having team was definitely essential. And, you know, for many of you, that might mean recruiting some other amazing women here to support you as well as you're beginning to grow that, which is a great place to start. But that's my brief highlight, Lisa. It was a lot of fun and great to
It's really amazing. It's really amazing, Megan.
Oh, I'm so glad that you got to be there for it and experience, and we'll definitely be debriefing more.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yes, thanks for asking. And Devashi, last hand up here. You were at the event as well. What's your question?
Oh, thank you for taking my question. So I did my challenge, and you know, I followed everything and did great, except I only had 3 or 4 people like show up. So to back it up to the beginning, looking at and, you know, going through the whole what is your message information, I still, when it comes to that question, who are your people, what is their pain, what do they want, I'm like, I don't know. So where do I go for that research?
So the main thing we recommend, so in your niche clarity bonus, there's going to be a spot where you're going to do ideal client interviews, and you getting to talk with people and find out exactly what are they needing, what are they wanting.
Where do you find those people to interview?
Your friends, your community, like here in the programs and leadership and leverage. From connecting with people and saying like, here's the type of person that I'm wanting to interview. And, you know, who do you know? So it could be friends of friends as well. So you're reaching out to your online communities and asking people who they know. And it's not a whole bunch. It's like 8 to 10 people. Yeah, but that makes a big difference to get their words so that you're not marketing just your language and your words, but you're getting to hear like, actually, this is what's important to me.
Can I ask a secondary question?
Yeah.
Marcia won that video thing. What impressed me the most was that she started with the positive, it didn't feel like manipulative, like, oh, do you have this problem? So it didn't manipulate anybody's feelings. It was like positive, positive, positive for these kinds of people. Is that okay to work from that end? I loved it.
Well, one of the things, that's great that you pointed that out. One of the things we really recommend is you want to elevate your clients. You want to elevate them so that they feel like, oh yeah, like, you know, it's not like, are you, you know, Sage uses this example a lot because often people will do this for entrepreneurs. Like, are you exhausted and burnt out and overwhelmed, like as an entrepreneur? And you might say yes, but you might not want to say yes publicly. And so it's not really going to work as well. And so, and people don't feel good saying yes to that. And so then you might want to say, are you a high achieving, driven woman who feels like there's just not enough time in the day to do everything that you're here to achieve? Like, that sounds, yes. Like, then it's much more interesting rather than like, wow, over full schedule, you know, like, so think about how you can frame things in a positive light and people are more likely to lean in. It's still starting with the problem.
Okay.
But you're starting with it in like more of the problem framed as a positive.
So rather than just an empathic woman dealing with narcissistic abuse, focus on the empathic woman and her qualities and stuff like that, being trained by that.
Yes. Yeah. Beautiful. Perfect place to start. And like I said, posting in your communities and asking like, hey, you know, who would want to connect with me and be interviewed about this? And I'm really looking to help more people and reach more people. And I know I have to start with, you know, hearing ideal client interviews.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Devashi, welcome. We're glad to have you here with us. All right, beautiful, beautiful beings. We are just coming to a close here. Thanks for staying overtime with me so that you could get some more laser coaching and support. Of course, your Facebook groups are the place to go when you've got more questions. We're always there. Coaches are checking in Monday through Friday on the leverage and leadership pages, your respective coaches. So definitely keep asking in there. And keep checking in with your calendar for upcoming events, especially those of you who are just joining, just getting oriented. I know you don't have access to your whole forum yet, but you've got access to just your welcome email that is letting you know about some save the dates coming up. And then by next week, by Monday, I believe, Tuesday at the latest, your forum is going to be all opened up for you. So just inviting you all to take a breath and tune into one next action, one step that you could take to feel empowered, to feel like you are getting things done today in your business that are meaningful, because it could be that one text message, that one reach out to someone, that one follow-up DM, that one post that you decide to just take 5 minutes and make right now that makes the difference, that attracts that next client to you, whether they decide to hire you today or tomorrow or a year from now. Like, this could be that moment. And so what's the one step that you could take and move forward with inspiration and action from this call? And I look forward to seeing more of your beautiful faces out in the virtual realm and seeing you in our calls next week. Mwah! Have a beautiful rest of your week. Stay in action, goddesses. Go ahead and unmute your lines.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Megan.
Megan. Thank you,
Thank you,
Megan.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
I love this.
Bye.
Love, love,
Bye, ladies.
love. So happy
Business
to follow you.
blessings.
Yeah.
Bye.
Autumn equinox blessings.
Yes.
Yeah.
What needs to be released and what are you welcoming in? Yes, release to the compost any of the stuff you've been carrying that you don't need to hold on to. It's a good day for that.
Yeah, I love that.
And balance and stay in balance, self-care.
Definitely.
Sending you lots of love.
Juliet.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, ladies.
Lots of love.
Peace.